Please rise for tonight's invocation. Tonight's invocation will be given by Reverend Matt McCollum at Trinity Presbyterian Church, and please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us pray. God, we give you thanks for your goodness to us and for your grace. We thank you for the blessings and the opportunities that are ours simply by living in this community. And so tonight we pray for our local leaders, for our mayor and city council. Give them wisdom and discernment that they might work for the good of all and seek justice and pursue your peace. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Reverend McCollum. Okay, council, first order of business would be I'd like to entertain a motion to amend tonight's agenda to add it'll be item number 21, and then 21 and 22 will just slide down the list. This would be a resolution. The city of Fairhope did request and receive an open bids for 70 electric golf carts for a 48-month lease. This would be option 2, alternate 3 on bid number 12-20 at a cost of $54,465.60 per year. The total bid proposal $217,862.40, and that would be to Yamaha Golf Cart Company. I would like to entertain a motion to amend the agenda to add that resolution.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor of amending the agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay. Okay, that is now added as item 21. Okay. First item on tonight's agenda would be to approve the minutes of the regular city council meeting, the work session, and agenda meetings which were held on February the 10th. Do you have any changes, additions, or deletions to those minutes? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve those minutes as submitted.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes as submitted, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay. Okay, thank you. Mayor Wilson, your report, please.
Thank you, Council President. Like some of the councilmen up here, I just got back about an hour before this meeting, but my trip was in Montgomery to meet with our local legislators about 2 bills that have been proposed this session that, if passed, would negatively affect the city of Fairhope's ability to plan growth. One was proposed by Senator Chris Elliott last year, which didn't go through, and up again for vote this year. It eliminates a municipality's ability to exercise an extraterritorial jurisdiction, or all of our extraterritorial jurisdictions, including our planning jurisdiction. And as the fastest growing city and the fastest growing county, to me that just doesn't make sense. We need more tools for planning, not less. The other one is about the creation of a Barnwell landmark district, and I think I speak with most everybody up here that nobody has a problem with Barnhill creating a landmark district. It's just what is making up this district is most of the unincorporated area, south of our incorporated limits. It's 44 square miles. It includes other areas that have existed long before Barnhill, including parts of Point Clear, Clay City, Battles Wharf, Houstonville or Tatumville, Marlow, and Fish River. So, you know, it's something that needs to be more defined. There needs to be a more formal way to by which you would define a district, and so we hope that they'll put a little bit more thought into this. There are 2 important events coming up. On Thursday, March 5th, the Nix Center is hosting a volunteer fair at 1 p.m. Organizations needing volunteer help will set up booths and explain their needs. Residents will be willing to volunteer their time and are invited to come to the fair and learn where they best can help out. And on March 7th, the Mike Ford Tennis Center will be holding a fundraiser tournament for the Fairhope Rotary Youth Club. Again, that's Saturday, March 7th from 8:30 a.m. to noon. There is a $20 donation to participate. Entry is limited to 48 participants. So sign up early and don't miss out on this fun-filled event supported by the Rotary Youth. And of course, Arts and Crafts Festival is March 20th, 21st, and 22nd. And I think most everybody has that on their calendar. But after all of these events, because we just finished with Mardi Gras, this will be an opportunity for us to focus on the garage, the parking garage, which is something that we've been working on for several years, but we can finally start the downtown transit hub. Let's see, the citizens voted for the name of this project, which is the alleyway that goes to the parking deck, Arts Alley. The design is complete, and the contract documents are in the final stage of assembly, review, and approval. We have had a delay due to classifications requested concerning potential impacts to historical structures and cultural resources. And I personally think this is totally silly, but it has really delayed us in this process. Our goal is to advertise the project during the month of March and have bids before council in early April. Based on that timeline, construction would commence in May with the project completion by late October 2020. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Wilson. Public participation. If you would like to address the council on items 5 through 21, if you'll please come forward to the podium and state your name and address for the record, you'll be given 3 minutes. Okay, seeing no one, I will close public participation and remind the public that there's another opportunity to address the council on matters that concern you at the conclusion of tonight's meeting. Council comments. Councilman Robinson.
Yes, sir. I just wanted to thank our police, fire, and public works on another very successful Mardi Gras season. So I appreciate all the hard work. We could tell, and we really appreciate it. That's all I've got.
Councilman Conyer.
I was just going to echo Jay's comments and also thank the 3 riding organizations in Fairhope for putting on some great events. We enjoyed it.
Councilman Brown.
Again, thank everybody for a safe and successful Mardi Gras season. Also, I'd like to congratulate the Fairhope boys basketball team for reaching the semifinals. They fell a little bit short today to Mountain Brook. I think 2 or 3 times defending state champion in basketball, but Fairhope first time to the Final Four. So good job, boys.
Just wouldn't leave me anything, would you, Robert? I was asked to announce that, but yeah, they lost to Mount Brook. I believe it was 60-50, and we kept it close the whole game and couldn't quite pull it out. But yeah, as you said, I believe Final Four is the furthest they've ever been in a state high school basketball tournament. So congratulations to them. I want to echo thank the mayor for traveling to Montgomery and fighting for the city on both those issues. Like she said, the Barnwell Landmark District is anything but just encompassing what would we consider Barnwell to be, and I think really intrudes upon Fairhope's ability to expand or govern what's soon to probably be Fairhope, all the fringes. I can see it if it was down at 98, where it makes the sharp turn down there in the Barnwell community. But this extends all the way to the south, well into even beyond north of a good bit of Fairhope proper, and also to the east. I believe it's all the way up to Highway 48, is it not? All the way up to 48. And if you look at a map, I mean, just to be honest, it's absurd. It's really absurd. So appreciate you going up there and meeting with them on that, Mayor. With that, I'll close council comments. We'll move on to item 5. This is a final adoption or a final read of an ordinance amending zoning ordinance number 1253, Article 2, Section 8.3, Article 3, Section C1, Article 3, Section C2, Article 4, Section B5, Article 5, Section A, having to do with the PUD, and Article 7, Section B, with non-conforming structures. Hunter.
Thank you, Council President. I did give a handout, and we'll briefly, once again, just give the summary of these, and I'll be happy to address any questions you have. I do have a reply to one question that was brought up during last meetings, and we'll provide you a couple of options. I think you have a handout. I have an extra, so maybe someone didn't get one. If you didn't, let me know. There are 5 amendments, or 5 sections. Most of these are just clearing up some things that we've had some we just evolved and need to clean up. Director of Planning, for instance, my title is Planning and Zoning Manager. Buford King is Development Service Manager. And we have defined this so that title, we didn't change that everywhere in the zoning code, but by definition, that clarifies who that is, and it removes some of the requirement or powers to supply building permits, which is Eric Cortinas. So that's what we're accomplishing in those. Dimension standards, we're including language to include all buildings for maximum lot coverage and clarify some side setbacks where driveways exist, and adding a minimum separation between all structures. Article 4, Section B5, fencing, we just added walls to fencing since theirs are the same. Planned unit development, the main 2 components of this is adding a master development plan, which will run through the life cycle of that planned unit development, and that one document can be amended. And we're also putting in a sunset clause. And then Article 7, Section B1, non-conforming structures, is there was kind of some misinterpretation at some point about extending non-conformities may extend into a setback. I think that intent was extending in time, not extending the length of the property. So as during last meeting, I was asked to look, it's on the last page, I think, of the ordinance that you have. The last item of Section 5, the planned unit development.
Yep.
And subsection 8, that by your version begins with failure to begin construction. I was asked to look at what is construction and that start date. So what we've come up with here is that first sentence. This is very intricate, and what the intent there is that within this 2-year period, there is substantial, movement toward being a complete project. It's not feasible to think it's complete, but a building permit for new buildings intended for residential or business occupancy and or final plat approval would replace construction. So as you see, that is an option 1. These got out of order, so I'm going to show you. That's option 1. Nothing else changed. We also had a few opinions that there is a time limit here of 1 year, and then the applicant come back to Planning Commission and ask for an extension of another year, so 2 years. I'm going to providing the same language to replace construction, but in option 2, there is also it streamlines the language and provides a 2-year period, so someone doesn't have to come through with asking for an extension. So that, if you so choose to make choose any of those options, Lisa, what would be the procedure for that?
Motion to amend.
Okay. So that would be the 2 option, or as is, or turn down.
So option 1 and option 2, neither of them are what was actually introduced. So we would have to, so council, you can take a minute if you need it, or ask Hunter questions. We'll entertain a motion that you could make you don't have to make a motion, you can leave as is, or you could make a motion to amend the ordinance as submitted. And that would be under, I guess that's just item 8. It is item 8, failure to begin construction. I would describe it like that, and then when you make that motion, say you want to amend that with option 1 or option 2. Do you have a preference?
I don't have a problem with a 2-year window. I think some even want an extension after that. I don't recommend that. It is a PUD, so if someone comes and what we're requiring in here is kind of a phasing plan. So what is the length of this project? And if it's planned on the front end, we know there's some ADM permits or ALDOT permits that are going to take some time. They can ask for that extra time within the ordinance that is being proposed as the plant unit development. So you would have the option to grant under those special conditions that time limit. So I think 2 years is generous. It matches what most people have. And I really don't, 1 + 1 versus 2, I don't have much heartburn with either of those.
Under that second sentence, under option 2, says any approved changes in the plan shall not extend the time at which said 1-year period begins to run. Is that right?
That would not be right. Nope, you're good call. That should read, which said 2-year period begins to run under that option. I think we got the other option in the next sentence and missed that one. Did you?
I guess I kind of prefer option 2.
I prefer option 2. I think just you go ahead and give them 2 years. I mean, to go to 2 years after having basically no sunset is a huge improvement. So I don't know that we need to be as aggressive to go all the way to 1. But what defines failure to begin? How loose is that definition?
So, and that is where we get very specific in our definitions, because we can't just create this from thin air. We have to rely on the definitions in our zoning code. I'll tell you what our intent is. From under building permit, we don't want someone to come and get a building permit for a sign monument and that erases the sunset clause. That's not substantially complete.
Right.
We also don't want a land disturbance permit where they come and clear a logging road and that erases the sunset clause. So in most of our cases, residential subdivisions are going to receive final plat. Roads and utilities are in place, and that's what final plat will trigger. And building permit, while we specify new buildings, that's also not to go in and put some paint on an existing building there. That shouldn't trigger the sunset. And this is where it gets in the weeds a little bit. The purpose for residential and business occupancy is because by definition of building, a shelter for animals is included. So, when you get really far-fetched, a rabbit hutch could have been a building. So that's kind of the reason for that specific language.
Any other comments, council? Jimmy, since you
Yeah, I make a
like
motion.
option 2.
I make a motion to approve as amending option 2.
First, you have to amend it.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
A motion to amend by using option 2.
Okay, on section 8, I just add that. Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, and I also want to say, and that is also with the inclusion of the corrected just typographical error in that option 2. That's pretty obvious, so that 1 is a 2. Okay, we have a motion and a second to amend the ordinance as introduced for item 8 of the ordinance, the sunset clause amendment. Any further discussion? Okay. All those in favor of the amendment, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Okay. Now, this being duly introduced at the last meeting and laid over according to our rules of order, I will entertain a motion for final adoption
So
as
moved.
amended.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for final adoption as amended. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none. Clerk, will you call the question?
Council President?
Aye?
Place 2?
Aye.
Place 3?
Aye.
Place 4?
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Hunter. Thank you, council. Also failed to mention, we have Mr. Trey Canada sitting in as city attorney tonight for Marcus McDowell, who couldn't be with us tonight. Welcome, Trey.
Thank you, Council President.
Sorry for omitting you earlier. Okay, item 6 is an ordinance to amend ordinance number 1660 by adding the Fairhope standard for interconnecting customer-owned small renewable generation with electric power systems. May I have someone introduce the ordinance, please?
I'll introduce the ordinance.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Conyers? Michael?
All right, thank you, guys. What this is to amend our current electric service standards that y'all put into the code. with the information from EMEA on specifically renewable interconnection. So it includes what the inverters are doing, the testing, the processes that's involved with connecting solar to our electric grid. And so it's fairly in-depth. You guys had a copy of this, and I'm here if you have any questions.
And I believe it also allows that customer to sell that utility back to AMEA.
Item 6 is just the standards. Item 7 will.
Oh, I'm
is
sorry.
the
I get
other
ahead of
piece
myself.
Is the other piece of
Oh, I
that.
did, didn't I?
Yes, sir.
All right. I went right past it in my tab. Okay.
So
All
item
right.
6 lets us enforce AMEA's rules on how the systems are built.
So we typically let these lie over, and I was perfectly willing to let item 6 lie over. Do we need to pass that ordinance before we can adopt the resolution in 7?
The city clerk and I talked, I was going to request that you immediately consider this one, just so, because we do have people that are requesting. That's what triggered this, is we've had a couple requests for interconnected generation.
Yeah.
So,
I'll just say, you know, as an AME board member, this is commonly done. This is the same contracts that they approve for all of these customers and all of their member cities. It's something that we have needed to do for a while, and it's just come to this point where now we have people that are, you know, ready to be hooked up and have their power installed. And so, anyway, I guess you're asking for us to suspend with the rules and immediately
yes,
consider
sir.
this?
Council is willing and.
So
the
we'll all
police
look
council.
down the road at Jay again. I actually didn't think about that earlier. I would have given you a heads up that 6 and 7 are kind of interrelated.
Yes.
You would? Okay. I will, so then I will ask for a motion for immediate consideration.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for immediate consideration. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none. Clerk, will you call the question?
Council President?
Aye.
Place 2,
Aye.
place 3.
Aye.
Place 4.
Aye.
Okay, and for final adoption, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for final adoption. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none. Clerk, will you call the question again?
Place 1, place 1,
Aye.
place 2,
Aye.
place 3.
Aye.
Place 4.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you. Now, item 7 is a resolution that the mayor, president of council is authorized and directed to provide notice to AMEA of intention to participate in the SRG 2011 rider and to sign the agent amendment in the name on behalf of the council, and the city clerk is hereby authorized to affix thereto the official seal of the council and to attest the same, and is hereby authorized and directed to acknowledge execution of the said notice and of the agent agreement in the form prescribed therein and delivered the same to the AMEA. I bet that was written by an AMEA lawyer, wasn't
I think it was.
it? Did you write that, Trey?
I did not.
Okay. Michael?
So item 7 is the contractual piece that Council President was talking about. It allows us, by contract, AMEA is our power provider to the city of Fairhope. So with the interconnected generation, having the possibility of overgeneration and feeding back into the system, we're not allowed to buy power from them. So what this does is it lets us act as AMEA's agent and buy that power on behalf of AMEA, and then they turn around and sell it back to us for the same price. So it's kind of a paper thing, but it fulfills our contract with AMEA as our sole power provider.
Okay. And Michael, there's, in that agreement, there's some dates under the second whereas, and it has fill in a month, day. Is that per contract? Should we just not fill that in?
Correct. It's as
Okay.
they're coming online, because we have to have a separate one for each of those
We'd have
customers.
to have a separate one. So then that would be entered into whatever that customer is,
Yes, sir.
or customer provider, both. There'll be a month and a day, and they did suggest, AMEA has suggested the ending date of the 2045. in
Correct,
those.
and that's when our current contracts expire with AMEA.
Right, and that's a rolling contract that we
Yes.
have now, something that was approved last year or two. Okay, so has everybody got that? Okay, so we're going to be acting as an agent of AMEA to sell that to the
To
customer.
purchase that back
Or
from them.
purchase it back.
Yeah, it's confusing.
It is
I
very
agree.
confusing. Okay, all right. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Okay, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you. Thank you, Councilman Robinson. Okay, item 8 is a resolution, the city council opposes Senate Bill 57 and hereby lobbies the Alabama State Legislature to block its passage. The city council directs the city clerk to forward copies of this enacted resolution to the Fairhope State Legislative Delegation and the League of Municipalities. And this is at the request of City Clerk Lisa Hanks, and I'm going to ask her to explain this to us.
This is a bill that Senator Ward has brought before the legislature to change the public records law. And it's going to be a huge unfunded mandate on all municipalities. We have, there are about 460 plus municipalities, and a lot of them might have one person in their office or a half part-time person, excuse me. And this is also adds another bureaucracy to the state government because they're going to have to hire a public access counselor, and they're required to have a law degree. And the complaints can be filed through them. If we need an extension, we have to go through them. And right now, it's set for 14 days. We have to respond. If we have an issue that we can't respond, then we have to send a notice to them asking for an extension. There's also penalties and fines that are going to be in place upon the municipality if I don't provide the records and somebody decides to go file a complaint with this counselor. So I'm asking the city council to pass this on behalf of all the city clerks in the state of Alabama.
Lisa, how many municipalities have joined in opposing this bill, could you say?
I figure out most of the city clerks have sent something to them, and now they're asking for the council to do a resolution.
And can you make it clear for the people watching in the audience that this does not prevent people from requesting public records in any shape, form, or fashion?
No, and actually it adds another layer to where it's not just citizens, it's any person that wants something. So somebody from California can ask for records. And at this time, we have a Supreme Court ruling that actually states that it's citizens of Alabama, so that it will more or less get rid of that Supreme Court ruling for the state of Alabama.
Okay. Any questions for the clerk? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve this letter of opposition.
So moved.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Okay, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Item 9 is a resolution. The City Council supports the concept of a Baldwin County Recycling Cooperative and authorizes city staff to work with Baldwin County and our sister communities to conduct a feasibility study, develop a business plan for an effective and productive countywide recycling cooperative, and report back its findings for possible future legislative action, and endorses that the key goal of a successful Baldwin County Recycling Cooperative is to operate at a cost equal to or less than the current funding levels expended by the city. I believe that Mr. Johnson addressed this in a previous work session. There was one key change that was made to this resolution, and that was that anything that we agree to just be brought back for once the ideas are brought forth, that they bring them back to the council for approval at that time. So this just allows them the ability to go out and further study it. Any questions? Any questions for Mr. Johnson? Okay, if not, I'll entertain a motion to approve this resolution.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Okay, motion carries. Item 10 is resolution to award a bid 1620 for sludge removal services for the wastewater treatment plant to Green South Solutions with a total bid proposal of $85 per cubic yard. It's an estimated annual cost of $585,225 based on fiscal year 19. It could be quite a bit less than that as well. So it's something that we do. Is the $85 per cubic yard the same price that we've been paying?
Yes, it is.
So basically, you're bidding on a cost per cubic yard, and it's, you know.
It's the same.
Go ahead if you like.
There's only one game in town. It's Green South Solutions. Nobody else has bidded on it. But that bid has been the same that I know of for at least 4 years.
Sure.
And they're honoring that. The $85,000, they were expecting more loads. We're not. We're not obligated for that, and we're not on pace to come anywhere close to that this year.
Right.
And I'm not anticipating us growing that much. Plus, the upgrades we did at the plant have helped keep that sludge down just a little bit.
Oh, I'd like to hear that.
A little bit.
Okay. All right, council. Thank you. All right, council, I'll entertain a motion to accept the bid.
So moved.
Second.
All right. Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Okay, the motion carries. Item 11 is a resolution to award bid number 5-20 for replacement of the well number 8 for the Water Department to, it says Griner, or is that Griner? Griner. Is that misspelled? Drilling Services with a total bid proposal of $83,214. Jay brought this to us in the work session. It's more than they had estimated due to the rising cost of steel. Does anybody have any further questions for Jay? Okay, all right. No other questions. I will entertain a motion to award the bid for replacement of well number 8.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Okay, motion carries. Item number 12 is a resolution the City of Fairhope vote to procure UV keys for the IT department. The items are all available for direct procurement through the Omnia Partners, which has already been nationally bid. Therefore, it does not have to be let out for bid. The cost will be $12,299.25. And to procure the multi-factor authentication through Duo Security with an annual cost of $7,669.49 based on the Code of Alabama, for a total unbudgeted cost of $19,968.71. And I believe Mr. Montgomery had addressed this in the last work session. Was that when it was? I have one of them, one of the last one or two. Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Montgomery? Okay. All right, hearing no question, I'll entertain a motion to procure the UB keys and the Duo Security authentication.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Okay, motion carries. Item 13 is a resolution of the City of Fairhope vote to procure 72 Fisher regulators for the gas department to be purchased from John H. Carter Company, an impact partner of the Emerson Process Management Regulator Technologies as sole source provider in the state of Alabama. The estimated cost is $22,320. It's probably a budgeted expense. Jimmy?
Yep.
You got that looked up, haven't you? Okay.
Make
All
a
right.
motion, we approve as presented.
We have a motion to approve as presented. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second for the procurement. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Okay, motion carries. Item 14 is a resolution of the City of Fairhope vote to procure 8 replacement shift starting blocks for the Fairhope Municipal Pool to be purchased from the Kiefer Aquatics as sole source provider in Alabama for Kiefer starting blocks and racing lane lines and are exempt from formal bid pursuant to the Code of Alabama. The estimated unbudgeted cost is $29,582.85. That total amount will be reimbursed by the Fairhope Area Swim Team for 6 swim starter blocks and by Fairhope High School and the Fairhope Booster Club for 2 swim starter blocks. So net cost of nothing to the city. I'll entertain a motion for this procurement.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Okay, motion carries. Item 15 is a resolution the City Council hereby approves and adopts a wellness incentive program for the City of Fairhope for employees who are on the city's health insurance as outlined in this resolution. Kim, do you mind hitting the high points of this? Maybe give a little quick reason why.
On which one?
You're on the
Wellness.
wellness incentive.
So we've been working on the wellness incentive for several months, and, prior to me coming here, the mayor and staff had worked on getting Thomas Hospital involved in doing the wellness program. So this past summer, they started with doing the blood work on volunteer employees. So we do have some employees that are participating with the program, but we were trying to look at find ways of incentivizing employees. And based on the information that these biometric screenings that have been done by volunteer employees, we're able to see the risk of all our employees that have, volunteered, where we can see where their blood pressure is, we can see who's diabetic. And being able to offer these wellness program, it helps the risk of our health insurance. Our health insurance claims running all costs involved. We hope this year is just under $4 million. So when we put these wellness programs in place, that is to hope to bring those numbers down. And so what this resolution would be doing is giving the employees, incentivizing the employees. It's not much, but it's something to incentivize an employee that if they participate per quarter, $25. And then if there's some additionals in that resolution, additional steps, then they can be part of a drawing that we would be able to give two $250 drawings. So that's in a nutshell. That's kind of just to be able to start our wellness program. Do you have any questions on that? And Thomas Hospital is the one that has designed the program, and so it's not Kim Creech coming up with the program. It is Thomas Hospital who, they're the ones that's the experts on this, and they'll be tracking the employees. So they'll track the employees and give us the, list of here's the employees that have participated. All their information is confidential, and even the report that I got, it just said how many females participated, how many females, here's their blood pressure, how many males. It's so that we could see our risk. So we are asking that all employees that are on our insurance, just the employees right now, to get their biometric screening done so we can see what our risk is as a whole for our employees.
Okay. Any questions of Kim? Okay. If no questions, I'll entertain a motion to adopt this resolution.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay. Thank you for your work, Kim. Hearing no further discussion, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Okay, motion carries. Item 16 is an application for a beer wine on off-premise license by William S. Haynes for General Provision LLC, doing business as Provision, located at 100 North Section Street, Fairhope, Alabama. Chief Hollinghead, do you see any reason to deny this application? No, sir. Everything in order? Okay, council, I'll entertain a motion to approve this application.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Okay, motion carries. Item 17, Recreation Board requesting the City Council approve for a topographic survey to be completed for Valana Park. This was voted on at their February 11th, 2020 Recreation Board meeting. Jay, any idea of an estimated cost for that? I mean,
I don't know. I was not at that particular meeting.
Pat, do you know?
I'm told roughly $24,000 to $25,000.
Okay. So do we need to have a budget on that, or we're going to have them select someone and then, like professional services, and then come back? So they'll go out and select you, or maybe the mayor, and then we'll select, and then, okay, all right. All right, so council, just to grant the request, what it'll do is allow them to choose a professional services provider for that survey. So on that motion, I'll entertain it.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
I would think the city would have a survey of Atlanta Park, do they not?
I don't know topographic. I think the rec board would know. It's a good question. I mean, we had some drainage concerns fairly recently. We put the retention out there. Did we not have a topographic survey related to that?
Long-range plan done with whether it was topographical or not, but still.
I would be willing to bet from what I've seen, the topographical will be piecemeal, and then
I know part of the ADA compliance, we've had the spot around the stadium, but it's like an isolated area. And I'll be glad to just go work and see who did all that drainage improvement that is down.
Yeah, that hasn't been that long ago, so you'd think that they would have had some kind of survey done when they did that.
Yeah, I mean,
may at least reduce the cost if we have an area here that's already been done, an area here, we just have to do the infield. But I'll work with Pat and see what we've got.
Okay. Yeah, so,
What the objective is, Jay, do you know what the objective for the survey is?
I guess to look at adding those new fields, is that right, Pat?
That's correct, and the parking renovation.
These are the new fields we discussed several months ago on the top portion by
Sure.
the rec center.
when you say parking, are you talking about also over by the rec center? So we kind of, maybe you're talking about the east side, so I don't know that anything would have been done over there.
Talking about both, talking about the parking, adding new fields up
Okay.
by the rec center, and also
Parking that
removal
would
of
be-
that field and creating parking in that area on the other side of the park.
Okay. Well, I would just tell them to caution whoever they select, don't get started until we make sure that Richard reviews that scope of work that's necessary. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other questions, comments? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Okay, motion carries. Item 18 is request the Fairhope Volunteer Fire Department requesting use of the Civic Center in the parking lot for their cook teams for their 4th annual barbecue cook-off, known as Smoke 'Em If You Got 'Em, fundraiser to benefit the fire department on Saturday, March 28, 2020, from 6 a.m. to Sunday, March 29th at 12 a.m. Services needed will be barricades, electric junction boxes, water, trash, and recycling bins, trash truck, an AC restroom trailer, 2 light tower, city stage, police officers, and several of the city tailgate tents. Also requesting permission to sell alcohol, beer, and alcohol contingent upon ABC license and approval, and that all fees be waived for this event. Question, you're not asking the city to provide the restroom trailer and things such as that, are you, Joey?
No, sir, I think that's kind of the old, the very first year when we used it, but there's some extra stuff on there. The city stage, what we use,
Yeah.
because we had the civic center, so the AC trailer and the city stage is out.
Do we have the light towers, chief? Okay. All right, so strike that. Did you have something, Lisa? Okay. All right. Any questions? I see Joey, who's been, the creator of this and done a great job. What'd you guys net last year?
Around 40.
About $40,000. Okay. Very good. And what we're doing is enabling the fire department to help us, to help them. As you all know, then they've, committed a couple of $100,000 towards a new mainline pumper, so appreciate that. All right, I'll entertain a motion to grant this request.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Okay, motion carries. Item 19 is a request of David Johnson of the Fairhope Rotary Club Foundation requesting approval of the Rotary State Cook-Off on May the 8th, 2020 for street closures. This will be Bancroft Street between Fairhope Avenue and Morphy Avenue and Johnson Avenue between Section Street and Bancroft Street from 3 p.m. to midnight, and the use of city barricades and approval to allow alcohol on city streets contingent upon ABC license and approval. Chief, do you know of any reason we should deny this request? Okay, council, I'll entertain a motion to grant this request.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay. Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Okay. Request approved. Item 20 is a request from Jawan McCartney, founder and CEO of Culinary Fight Club, requesting approval of its 2020 event, the Blended Burger Battle, on March 26, 2020, at the Dragonfly Food Bar in Fairhope, Alabama, for use and access of De La Mar Avenue from Section Street to Church Street for contestants to line up and cook from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Dragonfly will handle the alcohol, beverage sales, and consumption will be contained at the restaurant. Culinary Fight Club seeks street access for set and breakdown from 2 p.m. to 11 p.m., or the maximum time the city will allow. 20% of the profits will go to the exclusive charity of choice, Flight to Feed, Feeding Mission in Alabama. Chief, do you know of any reasons? Do you have any issues with this request? So it's a new event.
It's a new event. We've reviewed it. Everything was fine. It's street closure. It's normally closed.
Mayor, I can ask you as a business owner along that thoroughfare, You okay with that?
Yep.
Okay.
More activity breeds more activity.
Okay. Council, I'll entertain a motion to grant this request.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second to grant this request. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Okay, motion carries. Item 21 was added at the beginning of tonight's meeting. This was, I'll read this resolution. It says, "Be it resolved by the governing body of the City of Fairhope, Alabama as follows. The City of Fairhope did request receive an open bids for 70 electric golf carts for 2020 for a 48-month lease. This would be option 2, alternate 3 of bid number 12-20. At the appointed time and place, the following bids were opened and tabulated as follows," and there is a bid tabulation. Did everybody get a copy of that?
Yes.
Say yes? Okay, you did get that. Okay, great. And after evaluating the bid proposals with the required bid specifications, Yamaha Golf Cart Company with a total bid proposal of $217,862.40 is now awarded the bid for the 70 electric golf carts for a 48-month lease for the golf course, which was the option 2, alternate 3. We talked about this in the work session. I really appreciate all the diligence that we went through and putting up with the heartache of having, somebody like me go out and look at other numbers just to make sure we've covered all our bases. It was a big expense, and just want to make sure. And also, I think also, do we need a separate resolution for the golf cart fees? Do we add this to this resolution?
We were saying we could just do that at the next meeting or a later date, but
We could put in there, we could say, well, let's get through this. We've already read that. So, any questions? I'll entertain a motion for the lease.
so moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Okay, motion carries. Let's try to get that on the next agenda, council. I think that's going to muddy the water. We didn't amend the agenda. We didn't amend that resolution. I thought it might be in there, but no big deal.
I think
We're
he
not.
has the authority to actually do that without coming to you, but to letting you guys know that he's going to be doing it.
Is that?
There's a resolution that was done.
Does that fall within those guidelines? I know we do have some certain boundaries on that.
Yeah, for daily fees it would. Is what I'm told.
I had no idea you were going to do that. I can't believe it. Well, the other side of that coin, though, is if you didn't do it and we wanted to make up that revenue, we could pass that. So am I hearing that you're going to do that?
That was my intention, yes.
Okay. Would you just notify council when you
I'd be happy.
when you do that?
Yes, sir.
That way, if we had to take further action, we would have the information we'd need to take it. But feel free to take that action. Okay. That's what I'm hearing. Is that right, council?
Yes.
Can I get a nod or two? Okay, all right. All right, very good. Okay, public participation. Do you have anything else to bring forth before the council? Given 3 minutes.
Yes, sir. Good evening. My name's John Manellis. I live at 104 White Avenue. If you'll bear with me a second, I've got a copy of a current House bill before the Alabama legislature that I'm going to ask for your support this evening, so let me hand that out. Or if you just want to pass it down. This is currently House Bill 209. It's co-sponsored by Steve McMillan, who's, I'm sure several of you know, who's a representative just south of us. A community is defined by several things that make up its culture and personality. When I moved here in I moved here in the fall of 2012, one of the things I noticed about Fairhope was that it was a very cat and dog-friendly town. And that's a great thing. My opinion is that in communities where people are kind to their dogs and cats and they love their dogs and cats, they tend to be kinder to their humans. Recently, the health department has been enforcing a state law that prohibits dogs from being brought by its owners to the outside, and let me underscore, the outside areas of restaurants. Now, many of you know that have lived here longer than I have, that there are many places here in town that have great outdoor areas where you've seen owners walk into town and stop and have some coffee, iced tea, or lunch, or whatever. Well, they started enforcing that, I think, sometime in January, to the extent to where most of these establishments have come up to individuals such as myself and said, I'm sorry, we'd love for you to be here with your animal, but we would be fined. Well, fortunately, unbeknownst to me at the time, there is this current bill that's currently in the House that states, I'll read just the very beginning. This bill would permit a pet dog in an outdoor dining area of a food establishment under certain conditions. I'm not going to bore you with the conditions. You have a copy. They're all common sense conditions. And it doesn't mandate that a restaurant has to do this. It just simply says if they would like to do that, they can opt in to do that. I think that would be a great thing. There's a lot of things in our society that are becoming more and more unfriendly. This is a tourist town. I think one of the reasons I don't know this, I did talk to Representative McMillan, who represents, I believe, Orange Beach, Gulf Shore area, is that's a tourist community. A lot of people bring their animals when they go on vacation. They like to sit outside, particularly in the spring and summer. Likewise here in Fairhope. I did, again, speak with Representative McMillan. He believes this will pass the House. I checked on the bill today. It was in some committee, and you all know more about this than I do, of municipalities and counties. There's a subcommittee in that to I guess, seek input. I don't know where it stands now, but he felt that it probably would pass the House. Once that's done, they need a Senate sponsor, so I'm asking the council for a couple things. You all have a lot more influence than I do, or probably any individual citizen. And this is something that does make Fairhope friendlier. If you could reach out to Senator Chris Elliott, Representative Faust, and possibly Representative McMillan, and just let them know that you support, if in fact you do support that. And it'd be great, I noticed you passed a resolution tonight supporting a House bill. If you could do that as well, that would be great, to show at least a friendly community down here supports that type of thing. I posted this on What's Happening in Fairhope. I was reluctant to because, you get a lot of crazy things on Fairhope posted, and by and large, I'd say 90% of the people were in favor of it. A few were not, and I understand why. Some people say they have allergies or they just don't want to be around a smelly dog, and I will tell you, and I think some of you are dog owners, my dog and most of your all dogs are cleaner than probably a lot of human beings. So I understand that people do have some legitimate concerns, but I also believe that we live in a democracy, and the minority does not rule, the majority does, and I would think that the majority in Fairhope, at least evidenced by my unofficial polling on that, would support that. So if you would, I would appreciate it, and anyone watching tonight on this telecast, if you would reach out for your representative, because that's how things get done. Thank you.
I think underscore the fact that you said it does not force a restaurant to allow it, and they know their clientele, and they know that if it's a place that it would be conducive to that, or whether it wouldn't be conducive to that. So as far as somebody with a pet allergy, if they think they're going to offend a certain number of clients, they're probably going to say no. But if they think that they won't, they could allow it. It gives them the ability to allow it if they think it helps.
Exactly.
Chief, do you have any input on this? Is there any, other side of this story that maybe we haven't heard? I mean, I can't think of any right offhand. I mean, just
it requires the owner to have the dog on a leash. It requires the servers not to come in contact with the dog. It requires that if you're serving drinks, that those drinks are within a certain distance of where a dog would. I mean,
2 entrances.
Yeah, exactly. A separate entrance. All common sense things that would ensure, public health. So thank you for that.
All right, thank you. Council, I don't know if we want to amend the agenda and add a resolution in support of that House bill. I don't think we could make a resolution in support of a Senate bill, but just maybe urging the senator to consider a to-be-named Senate bill Or you could just say you would give them a call, or other representatives. Were you looking for a formal?
Well, I don't want to presume to know what each
Yeah.
of you think on this, but if
Well,
each of you do support it, I think it
It's
would be.
kind of heavy to come in here and, you know, at the very end of the meeting and us amend the agenda.
No, I
We've already
understand that.
amended it once, and to add that, but.
I don't know how quickly the legislature works. I don't know how long they're in session. But I think it would be a great statement to the legislature if a community such as Fairhope, that is known throughout the state to be a tourist community, I think it'd be a great statement for at least the city council to say they support it.
Yeah, I don't think it harms the council at all, because it's still up to the restaurant owner to decide whether or not they want to participate.
Correct.
So what we could do is take a straw poll, and if you would like a resolution in support of this, we could have Lisa prepare it for the next meeting.
That'd be wonderful.
Anybody thoughts on that?
I'd like a resolution.
You like it? Okay. So, well, we don't have to take a vote. So Lisa, if you can just prepare a resolution.
I was actually
I'd like
contacted
that,
today
so
by
that's
somebody
two.
in
Okay.
regards to this. I didn't know it was a bill being proposed.
Okay.
I didn't know they were enforcing no pens.
Okay. Is there anyone else who'd like to address the council tonight? Okay. I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. All right, thank you.